from a legal perspective, given Elon Musk has already spent a lot of money trying to make this go away, what do you think changed on his end?
I think in many ways, this is almost the most expected outcome of all, which is settling on the eve of trial just before deposition of the main players, Elon Musk himself. I mean, in that sense, it's actually a very traditional sort of settlement. And so he doesn't want to be deposed. He has, probably some embarrassing text messages and conflicting statements, and all of that would make for a very unpleasant deposition for him.
He was scheduled to be deposed later this week. Everyone on Twitter's end has been deposed, so perhaps you're right. He didn't want to go through that process. But it's not really a settlement at all because he's not essentially winning anything. I mean, the price is the same.
Yeah. I mean, I think the idea must be something like Twitter already took a shareholder vote. To go back to the shareholders and ask them to accept less would not only be it would be time consuming, it would be embarrassing. Twitter would have to explain why it was doing this when in fact it's in a very strong legal position. And if the goal here is to stop the proceedings in court, there may not have been enough time. I mean, trial was supposed to start in 2 weeks. Getting the papers together just to have a second shareholder vote would, very possibly not get the goal of stopping the Delaware proceedings from going forward. So that is ultimately likely at least part of Musk's thinking in terms of not even pushing further to get a couple of dollars off the price.
Interesting. So walk us through how this will likely play out in court, because if you're Twitter, you're wanting to get some certainty that he really means it this time. He threw in some language about debt financing and a condition, and I'm sure that's making the Twitter folks say, hey, what does he mean by this? Could they still go to a judge and ask the judge to somehow, be part of the agreement or somehow further enforce an agreement?
Yeah, I think that's probably what Twitter wants. I mean, the debt financing thing was always a condition for him to follow through, so I don't think that necessarily adds anything. Like, he was always not going to be under an obligation to close unless he had the debt financing in place. But I think that, but his letter was very mealy-mouthed. It's very unclear exactly how much he was committing to in that letter. And Twitter obviously is not going to want to give up its trial date and undo the depositions that are scheduled or other proceedings are scheduled. It's not going to want to change any of that until it's rock solid that this is for real, absolutely, definitely happening, no backseas. So they might seek some kind of court order that requires him to go through with the deal, or some kind of court representation that he's not going to make any additional arguments and so forth. And I gather that's exactly what they're going to be trying to work out next.
I'm being told that's called a consent judgment. Is that what you're talking about by a court order?
Yeah, it could be something like that. Some kind of, exactly, some kind of judgment by the court that he has agreed to buy the company at a particular price, go through whatever it needs to go through. And that way, if he defies it, he's defying a court order. He's in contempt of court.
And given all of these, legal issues to work out, is it your understanding that this could happen in a matter of days? Do you think it's likely we get to that October 17th trial date, or that this is, said and done before then?
I think it's very possible it's going to be done. I mean, obviously Twitter is suspicious. Twitter is, suspicious that this is some kind of game by Musk to delay things, and they don't want to let that happen. And if he is actually trying to play some kind of game, then obviously we're still going to go forward with everything. But I think it's very likely that this is serious. And as soon as Musk can get the assurances that Twitter needs, things can probably happen very quickly after that. The company has already gotten the regulatory approvals and the shareholder approval that it needs to close. So it's really just a matter of getting the financing, and that probably won't take very long. So yes, I think that this could definitely close soon, and with the trial date will be suspended, that there won't be a trial. I think that's very likely.
So after, let's say that happens, Musk owns Twitter, we're a few weeks out from an election. What happens? How quickly could he just start making changes?
Right. I mean, you know, he's in charge of the company. He can make whatever changes he wants, I suppose, if he orders it. The question is whether he really does want to. I mean, I think part of the reason that he may have gotten cold feet about the whole deal was because he didn't necessarily want to take responsibility for all of that. And I don't know if he wants to thrust himself into that kind of political spotlight right away. But I mean, you know, once it's his company, he can order what he wants.